What's up, everybody? It is Dark Con of the Dark Conservatarian YouTube channel here live on Strike Force News. Here with my loyal co-host Loudmouth Reviews. Say hi, Loudmouth.
Hello, everyone.
And in case that y'all didn't know or I don't know how to word this precisely, but last episode of Strike Force, I got promoting a little GoFundMe that Loudmouth was setting up for a new kitten that he had found. And good news, everybody. He's pretty much in recovery. Anything more you want to say on that, Loudmouth?
Yep, Zuko is in recovery according to the doctors. He survived his surgery and we're told he's doing very well. His surgery was actually more extensive than they thought. The doctor said they never saw anything like it. His intestines were almost entirely in his chest. It's actually really miraculous this cat's still alive. Not just from the surgery, but that he was even alive when I found him. Supposedly, his diaphragmatic hernia was not the result of abuse or being hit by a car, as I had suspected, but the doctors apparently confirmed it was congenital, meaning it was something he was born with that was getting worse. So he was not abused or hit by a car. But that kind of makes him being still alive more remarkable, because I'm like, how the hell did he survive that long on the streets with the condition? He did.
That long on the streets and born with it. You would almost think that the cat would have been born within the first year or the first couple months, even, for that matter.
Yeah, but he's 4 months old. So yeah, but I mean, it probably wasn't as severe at birth, but it probably was like a smaller issue that kind of progressively got worse.
It's a freaking miracle, everybody.
Yeah, so.
And I would have also promoted the GoFundMe if it was still an issue as of this moment, but
it is still an issue because we still got to pay the medical bill.
Okay. Maybe I ought to go ahead and show the link for the GoFundMe.
Sure, that would work. I've already gotten many generous donations, and if you're one of the people who's donated, thank you. It's helped a lot. I wouldn't been able to go ahead with it if not for the donations that I've gotten, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it. I would have had to put them down. I didn't want to do that.
All right. So yes, from both me and the Loudmouth reviewer here, thank you all so much for helping out with this.
Yeah. Thanks for saving my cat.
Dang it! Where do I have that link? But I guess to sort of clear out some dead air, though, today we are revisiting the issue of Afghanistan because there have been some new developments since the last time that we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and also there has been also a response video that our favorite leftist foil, the Progressive Voice, has done to Jimmy Dore on the issue, and we are going to be responding to that video of Progressive Voice because he is such a stupid ass lolcow, everybody.
I actually watched this video, big portion of it beforehand, and it's horrible. It's so bad.
There's the link. There you are.
Makes no valid arguments at all. He just whines, and it's such a bad video.
Alright, so I found the link again. Help out Loudmouth with his cat. And yes, so the newest developments out of it, if y'all might have actually heard about them, but I wanted to give my own commentary, and I thought why not have Loudmouth come on to, or any other co-host for that matter, to give their commentary as well about the recent developments. So, the last time that I talked about Afghanistan, there were no found deaths as of yet over this withdrawal and whatnot. But, as it is shown to be, obvious things obvious, 13 U.S. Marines and service members dead in Kabul, Afghanistan. the people who had attacked, it was actually ISIS and not Taliban. I mean, that was the original people that I was almost suspecting that was going to be attacking or doing, taking off of heads or whatever, was the Taliban. But no, it's actually ISIS. And I don't know of any exact relations, of what the exact relations are between Taliban and ISIS, if like Taliban within Afghanistan is harboring ISIS, but it would not be too far out of the realm of possibility if that was something that they were actually going forward and doing. Right. But that happens.
Yeah, if ISIS takes over the country, it'd actually be even worse than the Taliban ruling.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a little bit of infighting between them two over possession of Afghanistan.
That's actually incredibly likely. There almost certainly will be some infighting over it, but the question is who will come out on top. It could get a lot worse than it is now. Hold on, Rook.
All right, so yeah, Loudmouth. He had to leave for a second because he got a phone call. Don't know if you guys heard that. I hope I do not get copyright because that was the opening guitar riff for Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. But a little bit continuing on with this though. So, as we had talked about a couple of weeks ago, they were trying to rush the evacuation of as many people as they could possible, especially, namely, the U.S. troops from Afghanistan. And I was thinking that by the deadline that they had set for themselves, that they were not going to be able to get everybody out in time. Everybody who wanted to get out, more specifically, out in time of Afghanistan. So it was going to end up being that we were going to end up just leaving Americans behind. And as this article is a little bit old, August 25th, 2021, as there were 1,500 Americans stuck in Afghanistan as Kabul churns toward August 31st deadline. And then a little bit later, August 30th, so this article is just yesterday, they go basically saying that there are over 100 U.S. citizens still stuck in Afghanistan. All the troops are out, but there are still some civilians left behind in Afghanistan, U.S. civilians more specifically, and not to mention all the Afghani U.S. Sympathizers who are like anti-Taliban. So all those people are pretty much in harm's way. Now, if there ends up being any U.S. citizen death in this case, I would say objectively that this would be a precedent for the impeachment of Biden and whoever else. But even without the deaths themselves, this is some grade A carelessness on the part of the Biden administration right here. You get out the troops before you get everybody out, and even then, by the end of it all, you still have U.S. Citizens left behind. Pretty much dead meat in the water. So, just because of how much that he is willing to endanger people for, I don't know, some political PR stunt. As far as I'm concerned, this rushing of the evacuation by the Biden administration is just some political PR stunt. Oh, see, I can be better than my previous administration. Look, the evacuation deadline, I met that actually. Trump, he didn't evacuate everybody, but I did it. That was probably a bad Biden impersonation, but whatever, I don't care. Nonetheless, that's the only reasoning that I could ever even think that the Biden administration actually did this. They're trying to get a one-up on the previous administration by more quickly than slowly get the everybody out of Afghanistan. Now, I do think that ultimately that leaving Afghanistan was a good decision. It had to be done eventually, but the way that it was done here, it was just so freaking feckless and clumsy. Of course, 2 weeks ago we got talking about how that all that equipment was left behind. So basically, we are just empowering the Taliban. There are some cases in which that our own guys who are over there in the few weeks leading up to the deadline, that they were detonating their own equipment, trying to destroy it before they left. But all the same, there was still some that was left behind, and not to mention the U.S. military equipment that was given to the Taliban, which the Taliban just basically surrendered over, or excuse me, that we given to the Afghani government. I did not mean to say Taliban. We gave not to Taliban, not directly anyways, but we gave to the Afghani government, who just basically surrendered all that equipment to Taliban. So all this equipment given into Taliban hands, and all these Americans just basically left for dead, all for this political PR stunt. And also, on top of that, you have the Biden administration, which gave what people are kind of hyperbolically calling a kill list, which I can't agree that it is called a kill list, but not necessarily the intent of the Biden administration. So it's whatever. If you want to call it a kill list or not, I don't care. But the more important issue here is that Biden gave a list of Afghans that the U.S. was trying to take out of Afghanistan. And he just gave that list to the Taliban. Taliban has pretty much every incentive to want to kill every single one of these U.S. sympathizing Afghans that Biden just gave a list of to the Taliban for. And it's just utter foolishness. You're basically, just a full on exposing these people to being executed by the Taliban. Not so much of, I don't think it's so much a list of U.S. citizens that have to get out of Afghanistan, although I would not be surprised if that was actually the case. Of course, Senator Marco Rubio was highly critical of Biden's fecklessness right here. Okay, I'm going to go off the assumption for right now that, it might have only been Afghans who were on that list. It's not our own people, so little less of a precedent to be impeaching Biden than if there were actual U.S. citizens' names on that list right there that had to be evacuated out of Afghanistan. But all the same, because he just basically helped the Taliban put a target on these Afghan U.S. sympathizers, there are no words for it. Just completely selling out what was supposed to be, I don't know, some kind of quasi-ally, I guess you could say. Whatever you want to technically call them, because the Afghan government, I do not know about how loyal that they are to us, actually. I mean, it seemed to Loudmouth a couple weeks ago, and it almost seems on the surface overall that the Afghan government was very careless with the equipment that we were giving to the U.S., or that we were giving to them. So therefore, are they really that good allies? Not really, but all the same, you should not be giving this list so that the Taliban can just outright kill them. You are not making the trust any better by giving this list to the Taliban for them to just make it easier for them to kill Afghanis. So, equipment being given and left behind for the Taliban to pick up. Hundreds of Americans left behind. You had 13 dead U.S. Marines over this freaking mess. And not to mention the kill list. It's getting pretty damn close to that there is precedent to be impeaching Biden, if not full-on reasonability to impeach him, in my honest opinion. If there ends up being U.S. citizen deaths in the wake of this, which I predict that there likely will end up being people that get killed by Taliban soldiers, by Taliban officials or whatever, I think it's very likely. But keeping that all in mind, I think that it is very likely that will happen, and at that point, Biden most certainly should be impeached, because we cannot have this careless of a leader leading this nation. Whether or not that you believe in a state or not. But anyway, so actually there was one little thing that I wanted to go over with this article right here. Biden admits administration may have given Taliban kill list of Afghans who aided U.S. There was one point in this article in which they said that the reason why they were giving this list was something along the lines, if I can remember verbatim of, or if I can paraphrase what exactly they said anyways. that the reason why they gave this list was to avoid any shooting between Taliban and US soldiers at the Kabul airport. Which, that is utterly stupid. So you're going to make it easier for Taliban to kill other people. And the reason why you're doing that is to make them less incentivized to want to start shooting at us. This is retarded. You need to show some force, show some backbone here, Biden. Don't just keep on capitulating to the Taliban. There's no reason to trust these guys. Now, Taliban might not be as bloodthirsty as ISIS or even the Iranian government for that matter, but all the same, at least at this point in the game anyways, actually, I can probably make a guess that they are about as bloodthirsty, that they are very bloodthirsty for our blood, but it doesn't matter anyways. You just can't trust the Taliban with the history that we have had with them, that they have had with their full-on intent of wanting to kill Afghan U.S. sympathizers and anybody really that has dared to stand up to the Taliban. So, to get on with the subject here, though, unfortunately, we do not have Loudmouth returning to us yet. But nonetheless, we're going to carry on. And hello, JC Armitage in the live chat, by the way. Glad you could join us. So, this is from the Progressive Voice. Now, of course, it's been a while since I have done any sort of response to the Progressive Voice, but I thought, why not? I mean, this video just seems like an easy pickings, just an easy enough video to be responded to, especially if you go like watching some other videos of Jimmy Dore to actually look into his reputation, because basically this whole video is just a big old hit piece against Jimmy Dore for rather trivial reasons, honestly. The Americans who get left behind, Ben Shapiro. Okay. And hello, Daniel Hempel in the live chat. Nice to see you too. But the title of the video, Jimmy Dore is a clown. He joins CNN and mainstream media criticism of Biden's Afghanistan pullout. And with good reason, Progressive Voice. Do you not think that there is like good reason to be criticizing and good criticism to lob at Joe Biden and his feckless, spineless, and rather sloppy pullout of Afghanistan? If you say no, well then you are obviously not paying attention. Or you just don't care. You're just really that much of a partisan hack. Cold-blooded even, almost. I mean, yeah, sure, he did the pullout itself. That's all well and good, but it still does not mean that it was not handled. That still doesn't mean that it was handled correctly. In fact, it was handled incorrectly. But let's get on with this video.
So as you guys may or may not know, Jimmy Dore is a complete clown. He is somebody who is extremely...
That's a bit of pot calling the kettle black right there as far as who is a clown, Sahil. But we'll get into that a little bit later in this video.
Narcissistic, is all about himself, yet parades around to being all about the issues and all about the people.
From what I have recently watched of his videos, some of the videos that I've seen of him, he, and we'll get into that later again, he does care about the policies, and he does, at least in his point of view, claim to care about the people in the issue of single-payer healthcare and other sort of issues that I would think that you would agree with him on, Sahil. So, I mean, unless you think that he is just outright lying to be saying, oh, I'm for protecting the environment, or oh, I'm for single-payer healthcare, or Medicare for all, rather, but unless you think he is lying for stating those things in his videos, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about here, Sahil.
So,
and by the way, let me just tell you all, I do not like Jimmy Dore. I do not like him a lot, okay? I think, from what I have gone listening to his videos, I find him, like, way too disagreeable. I don't find him quite as smug as people like Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, Kyle Kalinske, or even Sahil, the Progressive Voice here, for that matter. But all the same, he's just way too shit-talky and too much of a loudmouth, in my opinion, for me to even find his personality that much likable. I mean, he's got some wit to him. I will give him that. He's got at least more wit than Cenk Uygur does as far as comedic or dry humor delivery goes, but nonetheless.
What ended up happening recently was, this was kind of appalling, coming from Jimmy Dore. But basically, Joe Biden pulls out of Afghanistan, gets a ton of backlash from the media, which he claims to hate, and they started criticizing him.
He claims to hate them. I mean, just because he thinks that, you know, as the good old saying goes, just because that Jimmy Dore says a broken clock is right twice a day, referring to the mainstream media, does not mean that he likes them. Get your head out of your ass, Sahil. Two things can be true at once. He can both hate, or at least highly dislike, the mainstream media, and also admit at least they are, you know, they're like a broken clock. A broken clock strikes right twice a day.
For his pullout, and instead of giving Joe Biden credit for pulling out of Afghanistan, which, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, I think that if you're being honest with yourself, you would have to agree that it was an extremely, extremely brave move on Joe Biden's part to actually pull out.
I mean, aside from risking his approval ratings for the sloppy pullout, well, actually, the pullout itself would have been a big, if done correctly, the pullout itself would have been a big gain for Joe Biden. So, I mean, as far as approval goes, so it's not exactly that brave, aside from getting criticism from other mainstream pundits and so forth. I mean, what all did Joe Biden have to lose if he gone pulling out is my question. But no, because of the way that it was handled, I don't really think that it's all that brave, Sahil. I think that it was more of a petty political PR stunt, like I said earlier on this live stream, of where that he was just wanting to get a petty one-up on Donald Trump on this issue. He prioritized that over making sure that Americans were actually safely, emphasis on safely, gotten out of Afghanistan. Oh, and also make sure that we do not let the Taliban get another one up within that country by leaving behind military equipment, etc. So before I continue on, JC Armitage says, "Holy projection, Batman. If that's how Sahil starts his video, then this is going to be a good one." Yep, pretty much. Is Jimmy Dore even still with TYT? I don't keep up with those guys, to be honest. No, he is not with TYT. I mean, if you go watching any of the actual Justice Warrior or even any of Stephen Michael Davis's videos, as of recently talking about the Jimmy Dore versus TYT issue, you would know that there has been some heavily boiling drama between those two camps. But one thing that I want to mention before I continue on, he says that basically Jimmy Dore is not giving credit to Joe Biden for the pullout. Actually, I have to press X to doubt on that one. I got listened to through this entire video right here. Like, he was not being that explicit and being that loud in his praise towards Joe Biden of pulling out of Afghanistan, but he did give some credit to Joe, and he, above all else, he was heavily critical of those who were all like, no, we should have stayed in Afghanistan. Like, he goes criticizing Liz Cheney and John Bolton, for examples, within this video. Warmongers cynically use protecting women to extend war. And by the way, if any of y'all go wondering, I am going to be linking all these articles and all these videos down in the description box below once I'm done with this live stream, just in case you are wondering. But nonetheless, yeah, it may not be the most explicit or loud of praise that he was giving to, or credit that he was giving to Joe, but all the same, I don't think Jimmy was doing anything the opposite of what you think he ought to be doing, Sahil. So, cool it.
Because as you guys know, the war machine is very strong. The media does not represent the people and does not have the views of the people. The media...
And he fully recognizes that. Jimmy Dore does.
...is funded by the war machine, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, these kinds of companies that need wars to keep going, to keep selling arms and weapons and war supplies. So they're going to be 90.
Again, he fully recognizes that, and I think that both of you guys' fan bases fully recognize that. It's just that you're being a pure propagandist demagogue in this video, Progressive Voice. Like, I have many criticisms against that I can go on about Jimmy Dore. Well, I mean, it's mostly because of areas of disagreement that I have with him, above all else, as far as my criticisms towards Jimmy Dore goes. But the idea of him, like, being too anti-Democrat or becoming a grifter, as Progressive Voice almost seems to say throughout this video, imply throughout this video, I'd say no, I don't think that's really the case with Jimmy.
75% against the pullout, but the people are 75% in favor of the pullout according to poll numbers. So,
and he's not against the pullout itself, Sahil.
Obviously, you would expect Jimmy Dore would come out and say, wow, I'm surprised Joe Biden did this. He actually pulled out. I'm going to give him credit. But actually,
he didn't say that verbatim, but all the same, Sahil, like, again, he was being somewhat praising of Biden's pulling out, of Biden pulling out in general. Just he's highly critical of the way that it was done. Or he's just critical of the destruction that happened in the wake of the pullout in general, and how Biden is trying to, like, shift blame on that issue. Like, let me actually go show in the other video. Not my fault, says Biden and Kamala on Afghanistan. Throughout this video of Jimmy's, he goes criticizing Biden and Kamala, trying to shift blame when it comes to the destruction that is happening in Afghanistan from them pulling out, from the way that they're handling the pullout more specifically. So there is that, but all the same, it endorses the pullout itself.
Ended up happening was he actually ended up joining in with the media and criticizing Joe Biden's pullout. It seems like he hasn't directly criticized the pullout itself, but rather the manner in
so what's the issue?
In which he pulled out. So there's a video. It says, not my fault, says Biden and Kamala on Afghanistan. That's this video. And so in this video, what he is doing here is he's making a video comparing the fail of Biden, where he said that it wasn't going to be like Saigon, where people are being airlifted off the U.S. embassy, which obviously did end up happening in Kabul.
So there's where the criticism is. It's legitimate criticism, Sahil. I mean, what's the problem of pointing out that criticism? Unless you think that Jimmy Dore is wrong in saying that and wrong for saying that, I do not see what your issue is here, dude.
And so he's covering all of that, and he's looking at and just solely criticizing the way of the pullout. Now, can you criticize the way that the pullout happened while also supporting the pullout? Yes, you can. But through Jimmy Dore's cover...
And he was... like... I wish that he would have played clips of what he was specifically referring to. Now, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of stones and glass houses, because I haven't actually fast forwarded to the specific part in this video where he goes basically implying praise towards Biden for pulling out. But I don't know. I'm just going to say in general that I wish that he would have played some clips.
Coverage, all he's doing is shitting on Joe Biden's pullout. And also, when reading through the comments section of this video, it made me quickly realize that Jimmy Dore's audience is actually vast majority right-wingers now. So, and
check out the examples here that Progressive Voice polls to say of how that these followers, modern-day followers of Jimmy Dore, are right-wingers.
I'm going to show you his video list later to show you just how he's basically a right-wing channel at this point. He doesn't really do anything left-wing. All he does is jerk off right-wingers at any chance. And then he just...
That is a freaking lie right there, Sahil. Honestly. Like, the only people that he is, like, pretty much praised for anything was Ron Paul. Like, he might have gone somewhat easy on Donald Trump when it comes to the handling of Afghanistan or whatever. But within this video, this very video, warmongers cynically used protecting women to extend war. He was highly critical of freaking Liz Cheney and John Bolton. Unless you think those two people are leftists or centrists or whatever, progressive voice, you are just full of shit. He is critical of right-wingers. He is critical of anybody, and I think he would basically say that a lot of Democrats are right-wingers. I mean, I would obviously disagree with him on calling Democrats right-wingers, but nonetheless, there's another example of him criticizing who he would, in his opinion, call a right-winger. When it comes to the issue of the environment, when it comes to fracking more specifically, and I dislike this video, and I plan on sometime making a response to this video of Jimmy Dore's. Perhaps we'll have to just wait and see of how much time that I have in the future for that. And also, what will trigger revolution in America? All of this right here was being critical of Democrats from a leftist position, from a kind of far left position. Anyways, so to call him a right-wing channel, that, like you said just in that segment right there, that is just outright wrong, and I would even call it a lie for that matter. Except I do not know what your standard of a political spectrum is, how you judge people on the political spectrum. Like, Jimmy Dore, he's obviously heavily critical of anybody who is against Medicare for all. He is heavily advocating for Medicare for all. And he is also heavily for banning fracking, just full stop. He said it right here in this video. He wants to ban all fracking, basically. Are those right-wing positions all of a sudden, Sahil? This is why that I can't help but say that you're just full of shit. Have you even watched or listened to any of his videos recently? Get out of here, man.
Shits on Democrats in every way, even.
And by the way, no one in the live chat, hello. He says, Darkon, my brother from another mother. Hey, but by the way, I gotta ask no one. Are you like an often viewer of PSA Sitch and Adam, the Sitch and Adam show? Because, excuse me, because I'd be listening into the Sitch and Adam live show, and I'd be hearing them reading some super chats by the name of a guy who goes by the name of No One. Are you that same No One? No One? Just wondering. Please say in the live chat if you are that very same No One who's, views Sitch and Adam show and goes to delivering him super chats. So anyway.
When it's not being honest and not being fair in his coverage.
You're not being honest and fair in his coverage. Again, pot calling the kettle black, Sahil. Fucking irony and projection right here, y'all.
But, this comment says, if you don't like how I handled Afghanistan, then you ain't black, Joe Biden. This is obviously coming from a conservative perspective. This is not something that a liberal or progressive would say.
No true Scotsman fallacy right there, Sahil. Just because they go, like, pulling quotes that they think are funny in a way to sort of mock Joe Biden in a similar way that the right would mock Joe Biden does not mean that it is not left wing or that it's right wing or whatever. Just pulling these silly quotes right here and quoting them in a mocking way towards Biden that does not automatically make you a right winger. This is not good evidence right here, Sahil, really.
This is now what Trump supporters and Republicans are trying to do, and obviously Jimmy Dore joins this because that's who he appears to love.
He loves Donald Trump. Holy fuck. Now, granted, I haven't watched or listened to any videos from Jimmy Dore of what his modern day opinion is of Donald Trump, but I can only imagine that he thinks that Trump is a blithering retard and he disagrees with him on well over half of the issues.
Trying to shit on Joe Biden's pullout as much as they can because they want to criticize him in any way they can. Someone says, don't forget the Taliban is still on Twitter. That's another Trump supporter basically saying that, it's hypocritical that Taliban are still on Twitter. So it's...
Is it not? Is it not, Sahil? Come on, tell me. Are you really disagreeing with these things? And are you saying that these are things that the left as a whole should disagree with? These talking points here. Are you saying that leftists can't and shouldn't be mocking Joe Biden for his "you ain't black" quote? Should the left not at all, what's the word I'm looking for? Should they not at all, God, what was the, man, should they not at all be critical of the idea that Twitter is allowing a fucking Taliban spokesperson on their platform? Are these things that the left should avoid being critical or having positions on? I don't get you, Sahil. You're just a fucking loser is all.
Critical that Taliban are still on Twitter, so it's another right-wing comment.
To Sahil, right-winger is anything he doesn't like, says JC Armitage in the live chat. You're not wrong, JC. You're not wrong. That's what this is heavily coming off like right here. I mean, by that logic, I don't know. To be fair to Sahil, he probably doesn't think that communists. I don't think he is all that fond of tankies and communists. If I was to be fair to Sahil, and I do not think that he would consider those types of people right-wingers. Anyone who is to the right of, okay, let me put it this way. Anyone who is to the right of Stalin and he doesn't like, he'll consider to be a right-winger. Anybody who is Stalin or to the left of Stalin, he will, and he doesn't like him, he'll just grant the benefit of the doubt that they're a leftist. If I had to be fair to Sahil.
I love how Biden speaks if he wasn't VP for nearly half of that war. And apparently I think he might have even been against it when he was VP. Obviously he doesn't have the ruling power. He's the vice president. But seriously, him pulling out of Afghanistan was a really, really bold move and very brave. I was definitely very shocked that he actually did that. Not my fault. I inherited this from Trump, who inherited it from me. Obviously, again, Joe Biden was vice president, but likely another right-wing comment. So...
I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit. That sounds a little bit more like a right-wing talking point right there. That last one right there, and I will say that some Trump supporters, they don't even come off. They're not even that heavily on the right, if I was to be honest, when it comes to all their positions that they hold and whatnot. Like Richard Spencer, for example. Even before Richard Spencer had ever turned against Trump and endorsed Joe Biden, he was still kind of left-leaning in a lot of his positions. Like when it came to healthcare and minimum wage and abortion, the only thing that Richard Spencer was really right-wing on was immigration. That's it. He took a rather far, out of the spectrum, out of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Overton window. He took some far right out of the Overton window position on immigration, but all the same, a good portion of the his other positions, particularly on economics, were kind of left-leaning. So, yeah, I would not put it past it if there were some center-left supporters of that within the Trump fan base, and that guy appears to be one of them, or if it appeared that guy was one of them that he just read.
Pretty much what you can see through these comments essentially is it just seems like these comments are coming from right-wingers. President Trump's Twitter account was censored, but the Taliban was posting clear again. You're not really going to see that from a progressive. So the progressive cannot be critical of Taliban and Twitter allowing Taliban on there, you fucking dumbass. True Scotsmaning fallacious dumbass. This is weak. This is weak sauce right here, Sahil. Very flimsy argumentation. These are the kinds of things that you're seeing, which tells you, and this one's even more hilarious. Just shout out to, quote, nuclear Jimmy Dore for covering the news that journalists are supposed to be discussing, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, I was watching CNN the other day. they were literally covering the exact same shit that Jimmy Dore was saying in this video. If anything, his coverage right now is exactly the same as the media. This video is literally just looking at his videos where he's saying it's not going to be like Saigon, and then showing Kabul and looking at how it actually was like Saigon. So that's what he was doing. So it's hilarious.
I'm letting a lot of this play because there is not a lot to respond to, but I hope I do not get struck down for a fair use violation or whatever just because I let the audio play. I don't know.
He's becoming his own enemy, I guess. But this is the thing. This is what's to understand about Jimmy Dore. He could not give less of a fuck about policies. What he cared.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Jimmy Dore does give a fuck about policies, and he takes up some policy positions that I, quite frankly, fully disagree with. Like, he wants all that money that was devoted to the Afghanistan war to be taken out of there and devoted to giving everybody health care. He even goes saying that it's because that people do not have, we do not have Medicare for all, why a lot of people died of coronavirus. That's an actual quote from him. Not verbatim, but I'm just paraphrasing, you know. And of course, the banning of fracking that I already laid out that he advocates for, and just those are some pretty hard left positions right there to take. And if you want to like put military interventionism as a left versus right issue, I guess you could like consider him kind of left on that. And not to mention, just in general, that's another policy position, is him wanting us to get out of the wars in general. Where are you getting this this logic, supposedly, Sahil, that he does not give a shit about the policy? Are you even watching or listening at all to his videos? I don't understand.
Cares about his ego and narcissism. So in general, when it comes to YouTubers and these channels, people who create their own YouTube channel inherently have to have some sort of narcissism because they automatically think that I should get my word out there. It's kind of like how Socrates said that the last people who should be in power are the people who volunteer to run for those positions because it's essentially indicative of them wanting power.
I do not know about you, Sahil, but I'm here mostly as a hobby. I could get in a full conversation as to why that I'm here on YouTube doing all this. It's also because I feel like there's a whole lot of political opinions and arguments that I want to get out there. Weak-ass arguments that are going unresponded that I could be responding to, like this right here, Sahil, that I'm responding to you on. All of your arguments, your shitty-ass arguments that I've responded to in the past via edited response videos and other live streams and so forth. Triple Z status in the live chat. Hello there, by the way. He says truckers on strike. Well, I tried to get Trucker in here, but unfortunately, Trucker can't always make it. Oh, God. I just been tagged, I don't know, what appears to be a Ben Shapiro YouTube poop on Discord by Mr. Merchant. I don't know. Also, Daniel Hempel in the live chat says, wow, does Sahil forget that Joe was a senator before he became VP? So Joe has been involved in this war for 16 years. Yeah, pretty much.
So it's kind of similar in that way. Jimmy Dore is an extreme case of the narcissism involved, but the truth is anybody who starts their own channel has to have at least some level of narcissism to be like, okay, out of all these millions of people, I want to get my voice out there and amplified. And
so how is this point anything relevant towards attacking Jimmy Dore? Your point of this video is to be saying how you think that Jimmy Dore should not be taken seriously and how you think he's a right-wing channel now. This bit right here, this talking point right here, Sahil, does not really make your case, especially when you go saying that basically every single YouTuber on there has some bit of narcissism. And you saying that he is like a bigger time narcissism even, I don't even think that that is very substantial to the point of whether or not he should be taken seriously on the left. If I was just to be given my honest opinion.
I want to have a show named The Jimmy Dore Show So it's that kind of stuff. So everybody has it to a degree. Jimmy Dore is an extreme case of this, where even when Tulsi Gabbard, for example, came out against Medicare for All, he still defended her.
How's that narcissism? Narcissism is basically somebody like being self-aggrandizing for themselves, or praising themselves, giving themselves a pat on the back. If anything, this is more of a case of him like giving Tulsi Gabbard a pat on the back. So what would be the opposite of narcissism, or rather, what would be the definition of a narcissism that you have for someone else, but not for your own self? Triple Z status says Sahil needs a mirror. Exactly. Thus the title for this video, Pot Calling the Kettle Black.
Even when she endorsed Joe Biden, he was still trying to defend her. He was asking her, like, well, is this an endorsement or is it just kind of a recommendation kind of thing? And she was like, no, it's an endorsement. And it's like, dude, you are a fucking clown. He does not give a shit about the policies.
How is that clownish? Like, maybe he has some other things about Tulsi Gabbard that he finds rather sincere, and seems to outweigh all the things that he disagrees with her on. Like when it comes to minimum wage, Medicare for all, wanting to end the wars, like that is one of the biggest things that Tulsi Gabbard, I would say, is strongest on, is wanting to end the wars. And that's one of the things that Jimmy Dore is kind of strongest on. I mean, of course, he has his ban fracking and Medicare for all positions, Jimmy does. But what he goes on, what he seems to go on more about even, or at least what I heard, him being vocally spoken about is ending wars. I don't know, but then again, there is the whole force the vote issue, the whole force the vote drama that he had with TRT, but I digress. Nonetheless, it's like one of his top issues, wanted to end the wars, and Tulsi Gabbard is in the same bucket with him on that issue as well. So maybe he just does not find and is somebody endorsing Biden to be that much of a make or break issue. With everyone else, I don't know. And again, one could also at the same time be wondering, why is he reaming against Bernie Sanders so hard, or anyone else for that matter, for being endorsing of Biden? But I don't know. But looking at Tulsi Gabbard herself, that is not exactly the strongest example of how Jimmy is supposedly clownish, because he just finds this one thing that he disagrees with her on, out of the multitude of things that he does agree with her on. And also, you go saying that he is clownish, again, pot meet kettle, because you are saying all this shit, saying that he's a right-wing channel by now, when he has like said a whole bunch of left-wing talking points, kind of hard and far left talking points. That is clownish in of itself. T. Douglas McIntosh says, progressive voice, opinion disregarded. Precisely, T. Douglas. Zachary Colley asks, warmongers be warmongers? Yes, seemingly. Well, you know, it's not like, Zach, it's not that these two are warmongers even. It's not like that they are agreeing with the warmongers that, hey, we should stay in Afghanistan. Like Jimmy Dore and Progressive Voice, they're pretty much on the same side that we should get out of Afghanistan. It's just the issue of contention here seems to be that Jimmy is just more outspoken against all the fuck-ups that Joe has did in his pullout. Whereas Sahil, he's all like, meh, whatever. He's trying to hand wave all the fuck-ups, it almost seems like, in this video. Like, why are you being so critical of Joe Biden's fuck-ups? And why aren't you giving credit towards Joe Biden on the pullout itself? Which damn sure that he did.
It's all about how he can stroke his fragile bitch-ass ego. That's literally Jimmy Dore. So all this guy does, he just jerks off right-wingers all day long.
These ad homs right here are just so fucking childish. It's laughable.
And so this video, Ron Paul predicted Afghan debacle 10 years ago. You know, when you should be making a video saying, wow, Joe Biden pulled out of the Afghanistan war. How crazy is that? It's a big deal.
What's the issue right here, Sahil? I mean, is Ron Paul somehow wrong when he said that, you know, okay. Is Jimmy Dore wrong for saying that Ron Paul predicted it correctly? Is Ron Paul wrong in how he predicted the Afghan debacle? Like, get to the substance of the issue.
There's no way that if you were to ask Jimmy Dore, and maybe he talked about it before, there's no way he would have believed. I certainly didn't believe he was going to pull out of Afghanistan. And like, if Obama,
so I mean, if we were to take this video in context with what you just said there, Sahil, here's the thing. He's basically implying that Ron Paul has a little bit more foresight than himself and most people when it comes to predicting Afghanistan. Countless Bathory in the live chat. With these type of people, at the end of the day, they will vote left. I bet both of them voted Biden. I don't think Jimmy Dore voted Biden. If I was to be fair, if I was to give my honest opinion on that. What the fuck? Zachary Colley says, what? I cannot read that, Zachary Colley. EGITIOT atheists calling others egotistical. Pfta. Okay. Zachary Colley says, wait, let me type that again. Oh, okay. He's saying stateists calling others egotistical. Raffle. Okay. Countless. T. Douglas McIntosh says days without Ron Paul being right, 0. Pretty much. The Condor JC says, yo, I love you, bro. No home. I'm glad to be here. Well, welcome to the show, Condor. And might I remind y'all, if y'all like the coverage that I am giving of this video right here and of the issue in general, like some of y'all are just tuning in right now and haven't tuned in earlier, but tuning in earlier, you will hear my commentary about the recent issues that have brewed up with Afghanistan. It's just that you kind of reach the middle section of where that I'm responding to Sahil. But if you like the commentary thus far, and even the earlier commentary, don't forget to hit that like button down below, and we got more coming up for you right here in this live stream. Countless Bathory says, oh really, good for Jimmy then, because I know Vosh voted Biden. Yeah, I know. Like, he was pretty vocal about voting Biden. He was pretty much pulling a big old Noam Chomsky on that one, from what I could see.
Obama had done this, all the backlash that came from the media, he would have backtracked because Obama was a bitch like that. But Biden, low key, he's been having.
I don't know what makes Obama so special over Biden as far as who is a bigger bitch. Am I actually getting a sense from Sahil here that he thinks that Joe Biden is the more progressive Democrat, is more progressive than Barack Obama? That's a little bit of a weird opinion to have, but let's move on.
Some balls on this. So a good person, I think, to contrast this situation with is actually Kyle Kulinski of Secular Talk, because he has been coming out in favor of what Joe Biden has been doing. And so, here's a tweet from him. He says, Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan is the most brave thing any U.S. president has done in my lifetime. Changed my mind. I mean...
And Jimmy does not disagree with, well, as far as giving it the word brave, I'm not so sure of how he thinks on that. And honestly, I don't give two shits on whether or not he wants to call that brave. But I'm pretty damn sure that, actually, no. Jimmy Dore does agree with the pullout itself. Again, I'm going to keep on referring back to this video right here. Warmongers cynically use protecting women to extend war. He wanted the pullout. He is glad that the pullout itself is happening. As far as how much credit, how vocally he is like giving Biden a pat on the back or whatever, that's not as obvious. But nonetheless, it's like, whatever. So he's not disagreeing with the pullout itself. So to say that Secular Talk is like massively different than Joe Biden, than Jimmy Dore when it comes to the pullout itself, it's just, that's clownish right there, Sahil. Again, the big example of projection here.
Hard to disagree with that one. This is a very, very brave move. The entire media is against you and is going to totally scrutinize and lie about you left and right. Here's a tweet that literally applies to Jimmy Dore. It says, "It's astonishing how every issue with the Afghanistan withdrawal is under a microscope when the war itself didn't get 1/10 of the scrutiny. Selective emphasis is how consent is manufactured."
Okay, that first sentence right there. Honestly, I am not too sure of how much that the mainstream media, more specifically, was looking at the Afghanistan war. And I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I do not know the full extent of how much Jimmy Dore was talking about the Afghanistan, the issue of Afghanistan and whatever was happening in there. But then again, now that I think about it, I would occasionally go looking at the Secular Talk catalog of what he's up to within the last 4 years, ever since in between the time of Trump becoming president and Trump getting out of office. And there was barely any videos at all of him talking about Afghanistan himself. So really, who's Kyle to talk about on this? Like, maybe there was more to talk about Afghanistan, but I have to press X to doubt that Jimmy, was any different than Kyle or any other internet roaming progressive on this issue. But the pullout itself is ending up with more deaths. There hasn't been a single attack or death within Afghanistan since January of last year. You have to keep that in mind as well. So the activity in Afghanistan has been pretty low in of itself. Sahil, keep that in mind. So that would go explaining part of the reason as to why that it hasn't been getting as wide a coverage. But pulling out of a country completely, that'll obviously just naturally get people's attention. I mean, you're trying to make it out like this is like some partisan hackery right here, Kyle. In regards of people like not giving much of a second thought to Afghanistan when there's like little activity happening, but now that there's a whole lot of activity happening, it catches their attention enough to where that they're all like, okay, get the cameras and the microphones, let's go cover this issue. I don't think it's hackery. I think it's more natural than anything, and I would doubt that Kyle is barely any different on this issue. And on the second sentence of the tweet right there, he says, "Selective emphasis is how consent is manufactured." I don't even know how the fuck that makes sense in this context right here. But anyway, I guess I'll read the live chat here very quickly. And then continue on. Zachary Colley says, "Day one of the jab for me. I was pressured into it. Hopefully nothing bad happens." Oh my gosh. Zachary Colley, you're gonna die! You're gonna die in under 2 years! Ah! No, I'm joking. I'm completely joking, Zach. I'm totally just mocking and throwing shade at all those vaccine conspiracy theorists who say that who kind of almost baselessly go saying that everybody's gonna die who has taken the jab. But I doubt that that's going to be the case. But I'll get into that issue the next episode of Strike Force. Hopefully, by the next episode of Strike Force, I will get more into the issue of coronavirus and the vaccines, as I have one particular video that I want to review over about the issue. That is, if there is no other issue that goes popping up in between now and next Tuesday. T. Douglas McIntosh says, "Vosh is so brain dead and unread, even the vulgar lefties are calling him out on his horse shit." Interesting. Daniel Hempel says, "Sahil and Joe Biden need to get pull-out advice from my cousin who has 6 kids. I see no way how Afghanistan pull-out is anything but a clusterfuck." Yeah. I was tempted to make that joke a little bit earlier for the beginning of this live stream, Daniel, but I ended up forgetting to do that joke. But anyway, Triple Z status says, "What is brave about leaving in the middle of the freaking night?" Condor JC says, "I recently saw on Fox LA that a local business has put on a sign telling current and potential customers who are Biden supporters to fuck right off." Woo. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really condone that sort of business practice. But in a perfect world, in a perfectly ethically libertarian world, people would be allowed to do whatever they want with their business and associate with absolutely whoever they want in their business, and ultimately be able to deny people service based off of their political preferences. The case being Biden supporters right here. And I support their right if they have it, but something makes me doubt that they will actually be able to something doubts me that they'll actually be able to legally get away with that, honestly. But by the end of the day, even if they ethically have the right, in my belief, I still don't know if I would do that personally. Maybe on a case-by-case basis. Depends on how toxic of a Biden supporter they are. Zachary Colley says that Kyle Clown Linsky of Secular Talk. Now, there's a cowardly jerk wild right there. Pretty much, yeah. Kyle is one of the most smug bastards you will ever come across on the internet. Zachary Colley says, I kind of figured you were joking, man. No big. Alright. Anyway, so, you guys banter with each other in the live chat. I'm going to continue on with this video.
That's literally exactly what Jimmy Dore is doing, which is exactly what mainstream media was doing. During the, like 2018, 2019, you didn't see CNN reports about Taliban either control or contest 50% of Afghanistan. You didn't see that. They didn't cover the war at all for like multiple years. It just didn't get any coverage. But now all of a sudden when the pullout happens, now you start all the coverage. So people aren't educated on the issues. The awareness isn't proper. And so this literally applies to...
well, the awareness is proper now. And in spite of how much control they had beforehand, I go looking at the maps of how much control they have, and they have pretty much 3/4 of the country in their control, the Taliban do, including surrounding and closing in on Kabul.
What Jimmy Dore is doing here, where he's selectively emphasizing the way that the withdrawal is going. So,
again, I don't have much to say in regards to this. I don't know enough information to actually efficiently refute him on this, but I just have to say, X to doubt. I'm pressing X to doubt, Sahil.
you could criticize the withdrawal constructively while also being in favor of the pullout, but he's not doing that. He's just criticizing the pullout and is refusing.
Bullshit, Sahil. Have you not seen this video? Are you not even acknowledging it? Jimmy Dore saying warmongers cynically use protecting women to extend war. The implication is heavy throughout this video that he is glad that just in general that we are getting out of Afghanistan. He is pretty much doing what you are saying that you think he should be doing. Sahil? Do you not do your fucking homework before you start shit-talking somebody? Serious question.
To give any credit to Joe Biden for even pulling out. This one says, President Donald Trump would have gotten every single American interpreter and piece of equipment out of Afghanistan. The man understood optics. The media's kid glove treatment of Biden enabled this disaster. So this is trying to say that Trump would have gotten out of Afghanistan. That's complete bullshit. He did that on purpose, where the schedule to get him out, to get U.S. troops out, was after his presidency.
I have some doubts and questions about this statement even myself, because when I got listening through Jimmy Dore's videos talking about Afghanistan and whatnot, there's one interesting piece of information that I ought to research myself and read up sometime to present it on this show next episode. But basically, Jimmy Dore gone saying that Liz Cheney was partnering up with some establishment Democrat, putting in place some kind of amendment so as to prevent Donald Trump from getting out of Afghanistan. So if that's true, then that means that there is a little bit of a defense for Donald Trump and why that he did not get out of Afghanistan as soon as he would have possibly liked to. But either way, that's an issue that I'm going to have to look into some later point.
Kyle says, Trump actually would have stayed in Afghanistan if fake withdrew to about 2,000 U.S. troops there, and we know because that's what he did as president of the United States, you partisan hack. Trump totally would have done this thing he objectively didn't do when he could have. Why is it so hard for people to just be honest? I despise Biden, but he did the right thing on this. Deal with it, you freaks. So, this is how you're supposed to respond if you are a consistent person who is honest and who cares about policies and is less concerned with ego and drama and politicians and all.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Secular Talk has one of the biggest egos that I have seen. He prides himself on being so smart and being such a fucking policy wonk. Air quotes. I don't know. I'm not going to try and measure up egos like Jimmy Dore's ego versus Kyle Kulinski's ego. Like, I don't really even care for that matter. I just find this shit talking just obnoxious right here from Sahil. And it just sounds, for the most part, like a little bit like white noise. Oh, did I use the word white to describe something? Oh, I must be racist. Whee!
This stuff. You give credit where credit is due. Okay? The fact that he withdrew is really, really shocking to me. It's hard to even believe that he did it. Because I definitely didn't think he was actually going to do it. It was absolutely the right move to pull out. And you could argue that the pullout kind of reinforced why the pullout should have even happened. So, this is somebody who's honest, who's legit.
The pullout reinforced why the pullout should have or shouldn't even happen. Like, I wish a progressive voice would actually open his damn mouth and fully and clearly articulate his freaking words. But I'm pretty sure that what he said right there is that the pullout itself is proof as to why that the pullout should have happened. Like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword. This episode, this chapter in U.S. military history is going to be used by both sides to say on why we should versus should not have pulled out of Afghanistan. People in the anti-interventionist side, the anti-neocon, the pro-libertarianism, and that sort of thing side, they're going to say this is an example as to why that we should have got out a whole lot longer time ago, is because we built up to this pressure to where that things are as bad as they are now. And then all the neocon and interventionist side, they are going to take this story and say this is why that we should have stayed in longer so as to secure things in Afghanistan a whole lot better. So I don't know, unless you're like willing to further break down the issue, progressive voice, which I don't think you are, because you only got 3 minutes left within your video right here. I'm not so sure of how that talking point measures up to a hill of beans.
Legit. And this is someone you can compare and contrast to Jimmy Dore and ask yourself, whose political commentary would you rather listen to?
Certainly not yours, Sahil. The only reason why I listen to your political commentary is as a foil for me to politically respond to. Now, I am going to be honest, there is one video in which that Sahil actually sufficiently, and props to him, presented me an interesting piece of information. Like, there's one video in which he was reading a Hill argument, and in the Hill, it was talking about of how that Donald Trump, it was showing a clip even of how Donald Trump at one of his town hall meetings, he was booed by his own supporters for saying that I support your freedom, but I think you should get the vax. I've got the vax myself, etc., etc. So that was a piece of interesting information, and I credit Sahil for presenting that so that I can research that myself. But aside from that, as far as political commentators, Sahil is not that bright. The guy who makes these weak-ass arguments when it comes to economic principles, overly simplistic logic when it comes to abortion, these weak-ass talking points when it comes to gun control, just utter weak sauce. Again, I would not. Anyway, I'm being a blabbermouth. Let's get on with it.
Somebody who is genuinely honest and is giving an objective view of things and is not obfuscated by politicians or personalities and stuff like that, but just a policy Or would you rather listen to Jimmy Dore, somebody who's interested in just simply stroking his ego, sucking his own dick, just narcissism, all of that stuff, and just cares about whether or not a political candidate comes on his shitty show?
And why would somebody listen to a show like yours, Sahil, of where that it's devoted all to just shit talking people? Like, maybe on a very rare occasion, Progressive Voice goes talking about policy, but for the most part, his channel is a drama channel. And it's just devoted mostly to just shit talking bigger, political commentators for clout. And no, I'm not going to say that being a clout chaser is like inherently wrong. I'm not of that belief, especially since I've been accused of being a clout chaser myself for responding to Foamy the Squirrel when it comes to coronavirus, which, by the way, thanks Zachary Colley for recommending that video. It was a very good recommendation of last year, one of my best uploads as of last year. But nonetheless, you don't go breaking down policy or even go specifically talking about policy a whole lot yourself, Sahil. Secular talk, yeah, I mean, to get a little bit more on the subject that he's actually talking about, Sahil. Secular talk, yeah, he does go breaking down and talking about policy a whole lot more to his credit. But at the same time, so does Jimmy Dore! Jimmy Dore also talks about policy too. Get it through your thick skull, Sahil, you fat hobbit.
Which one would you prefer? So this is a good compare and contrast. And, I guess if you
Bumped his mic there. Did you hear that?
are somebody who's not a Kyle fan, but also not a Jimmy Dore fan.
T. Douglas McIntosh in the live chat says, I've tried to suck my own dick. It didn't work. I heard you need to get a rib or two to remove to be that flexible. Right. Zachary Colley says, projection much, Sahil? Precisely, Zach.
I don't know, maybe this will push you to be more supportive of Kyle. I'm not really sure. But
Not really. Not really. Well, I guess he's talking more to leftists. Like, let's keep in mind here. Most of the time when I hear Sahil go talking about the issues, I don't think he is trying to talk to right-wingers. When he goes making a Ben Shapiro response video, on occasion he goes on about how, all you Ben Shapiro supporters who go disliking my video, I don't give a fuck. There has been sometimes in the considerable past where he's talking to right-wingers, but for the most part he goes talking to leftists. So I don't know, maybe he is not directing his advice on who people should be listening to politically to anybody outside of progressive circle fan bases.
the real truth about Jimmy Dore at this point is the guy is basically just Tim Pool. If you look at his videos.
There we go. Okay. Here's the difference between Tim Pool and Jimmy Dore. The massive difference between Tim Pool and Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, okay. Thing that they both have in common, Jimmy Dore and Tim Pool. They both are highly critical of Democrats. But here's the difference. Jimmy Dore goes attacking Democrats from a leftist perspective, whereas Tim Pool goes criticizing Democrats from a centrist or right-wing perspective. So no, they are not the same, Sahil. Get some perspective, dude. As like I said earlier, when he goes criticizing Democrats, particularly in this video right here, goes criticizing corporate Democrats for not being hard enough on fracking or energy or whatever. He is attacking that from a further left than even the Democrat sort of position. He's not attacking from a right-wing perspective of all these grassroots people, they're going to lose their jobs in the fracking industry. If he was to say something along those lines, I'd say, yeah, that is a Tim Pool-ish kind of talking point right there. But no, he's not attacking it from that issue, from that point of view. He's attacking it from a our Earth is going to die within the next few years if fracking continues on sort of perspective. And, it's not economically beneficial, blah, blah, blah. And again, I'm going to have to devote the time sometime to actually respond to this video. But nonetheless, let's get back on subject.
every single one of these videos is just anti-Democrat, and then he just does like tacit support of Republicans. So
Tacit support of Republicans. Bullshit. Aside from Ron Paul, who is the Republican, which he is which I would bet $100 that he disagrees with Ron Paul on over 75% of the issues. It's only the remaining 25% that he thinks that Ron Paul is based on. When it comes to war, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to sex, when it probably even comes to free speech, although Ron Paul and Jimmy Dore would likely disagree when it comes to how free speech should be handled on the issue of internet platforms. Like Jimmy Dore probably believes in an internet bill of rights, whereas Ron Paul, if I had to guess, is passionately against that sort of idea. I mean, I would bet $100 that he disagrees with Ron Paul on most of the issues. He's just praising him on the one issue where he thinks he is spot on. Sahil. And even I can like admit when a leftist is right on an issue. Man, I don't have any examples right off the top of my head, but I have done it in the past, nonetheless. What else was I gonna say? But aside from that, what Republican has he given actual praise for? Even with Donald Trump, when he gone easy on him as far as Afghanistan pullout goes, saying that, oh, there's this Liz Cheney amendment that prevented him from pulling out of Afghanistan sooner rather than later. Even that, I don't think is like some tacit endorsement of Donald Trump or whatever. This is fucking bullshit. And might I remind again, in this video, he was critical of both Liz Cheney and John Bolton, both Republican figureheads. Sahil?
obviously here he's supporting Ron Paul, obviously, but
that's one person agreeing on only the minority of issues.
You know, there's even a video here that's talking about how, I don't even know if it's true, but, you know, it's a title of a video about, is Biden doing more drilling than Trump?
And did you at all watch that fucking video, asshole? See, I actually listened to that video all the way through, and at a couple points in that video, he goes saying that fracking should just be full-on banned. He says that anybody who goes even advocating for the allowing of fracking, who goes voting against the banning of fracking, that they should just be laughed out of society, essentially, or they should be just utterly dismissed. So, I mean, even when he's critical of Biden, he's attacking that issue from a further left perspective. This is probably pissing me off a little bit more than it should, honestly. Like I said, I don't even like Jimmy Dore, but the baseless and completely unbased opinion of Sahil right here is just fucking triggering me, honestly. Like, how can one be so fucking dishonest about somebody that you would think would be their ally on the political issues? Sahil, you would think that he would consider Jimmy Dore to be an ally on most to all issues, but no. He has to, look at this. Look at the rating. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Vince Vaughn offended by critical race theory. That's a video that you can see on Jimmy Dore's catalog that Sahil is showing right here. Because a 53% rating, whereas most of his other videos have over 90% ratings. Maybe that's a video that I ought to check out next, and put in my catalog to put in my playlist to respond to. But nonetheless, I don't know. I kind of lost my place. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. How is it that Sahil can be so dishonest and off base with his criticism of Jimmy Dore? Goes saying that he's a right-wing channel at this point when he objectively is not. If you actually go listening to his videos, Jimmy Dore, in fact, is not. So, all I can say, Sahil, is go watch his videos. Go watch his videos to remind yourself of how left-wing Jimmy Dore really is.
I can't find it right now for some reason. But it's just clear that basically that's the kind of thing he does. Is it because he wants to? It's right here. Biden worse for environment than Trump. So it's all just anti-democrat stuff, anti-progressive stuff, and then it's all just pro-Republican. So he's no different than Tim Pool at this point.
Bullshit. You dishonest hack. Okay, so in regards of what I said earlier about a Liz Cheney amendment to block Trump from pulling out of Afghanistan sooner rather than later, I searched up on DuckDuckGo, Cheney amendment preventing Trump from pulling out of Afghanistan. The Intercept, House Democrats working with Liz Cheney restricts Trump's planned withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan and Germany. I don't know about getting out of Germany. I mean, they are an actual ally of the U.S., but either way, it's still like getting out of Afghanistan still goes backing up what Jimmy said and what I'm kind of putting a little bit of a stake in. House panel votes to constrain. Okay. So this is back in July 1st, 2020. House panel votes to constrain Afghan drawdown. Ask for assessment on incentives to attack U.S. troops. And this was in last year, folks. This was when and it says House panel. Keep in mind that the Democrats had control of the House. Why are House Democrats Okay. Why are House Democrats siding with Liz Cheney to prolong endless war in Afghanistan? July 3rd, 2020. So, yeah, again, they prolonged. Okay, so for the first 3 years, it seems like at the very least, for the first 3 years within the Trump administration, Trump was keeping up the interventionism in Afghanistan. It wasn't until his last year that he might have been making more of an effort, but Liz Cheney and House Democrats were blocking him. So, again, that's my search, and I'll have to look at it. Trump muddles Republican messaging on Afghanistan. That's also from The Hill. Yeah. Again, I'll have to take a look at this sometime in the future to see of how true that is or not, on how passionate or not that Trump was to pull out Afghanistan. But nonetheless, I'm going to read up in the chat here and then continue on with the video. How much you want to bet Sahil does not care? Asks Zachary Colley. Probably not. He's probably just a big time borderline grifting clout chaser. Sahil is. And I say borderline grifting because I don't know. I don't have any firm reason to believe that Sahil does not believe in the beliefs that he claims to, believe in. So, it just borderline comes off as grifting. This right here, his attack against Jimmy Dore definitely comes off as dishonest grifting of some sorts. But nonetheless, stateists in general are never satisfied theologically or politically. I guess not, Zach. I don't bet on losing bets. Neither of them are the arbiters of truth. We should have been gone years ago. Do it right, though, says straight Sith male. Right? And Zachary Colley says, oh no, the black words are on a white live chat board. YouTube is racist. I am triggered. Run for the hills, man. Oh wait, I live on some hills. Never mind. By the way, I actually have blackout mode set up on my YouTube, so it's like white words on a black background in my case, on a black live chat board. They left the doggos, guys. The dog says straight Sith male. Yeah, I heard about that. I did not read up specifically about it, but I saw the articles saying that they left behind dogs. Not just U.S. citizens, but also dogs. Straight Sith male asks, so who is this goof? Sahil, the progressive voice, Habibi. One of the most unsubstantive lol cows that I like to use as a foil on occasion as response material. T. Douglas McIntosh says, I criticize ANCAPs from a postmodernist perspective, even though I'm also an ANCAP. Alright, fair. But it's not like that you go acting like that they are an enemy or anything, like Sahil is acting like towards Jimmy Dore. Straight Sith Male says, Tim has 0 balls. I won't deny it. T. Douglas McIntosh says, you're either a Dem. Shit, that's said before I was finished typing. Oh. You're either a Democrat or Republican. A vote for the LP is a vote for the Republicans, says T. Douglas McIntosh. Almost seems like it. That almost seems to be what Sahil's logic is. Zachary Colley says, Republicans, wah. Sahil, if you weren't such a partisan slave, you would realize that dividing along party lines is pointless, right? 100% constitutionalist says straight Sith male. I am a patriot. Oh, good to hear, straight Sith male. I consider myself one too, patriot and constitutionalist. Zachary Colley says, what? There's more than the donkey and elephant? That's just totally radical. Whoa! It really is glorious how the left eats its own. Yeah, this is just an entertaining. This is just popcorn. This is just, I don't know. This is just like popcorn eating entertainment right here, folks. Is watching the left eat its own alive. Straight Sith Male says, hey, do you watch The Hard Bastards at Zachary Colley and the Dark Conservatarian? You know, I used to watch The Hard Bastard, but then he progressively, I don't know. He like privated almost all of his content. He was no longer doing highlights of his live streams on YouTube, and I don't know. Maybe I ought to go to the alternative websites and see of what his highlights are on those channels. But give him a second chance. But I don't know. I guess Hard Bastard just got a little bit stale for me eventually is the only thing straight Sith male. But if you're a fan of the Hard Bastard, not knocking you for that at all, more power to you, dude. Zachary Colley says, I watch Dark on here. Who's the Hard Bastard? Look at his channel up. Straight Sith male. And Condor JC says, Hard Bastard. I'm sure Hard Bastard's audience would sit right in with the Dark Conservatarian. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. It kind of depends, Condor JC, because I know that when I used to be allied up with Don, the pleb of plebeian media, I know that I used to butt heads with his audience quite often. Even though that I agree with Don the pleb and most of his audience on most of the issues, it'd be those smaller issues that would get us more passionately disagreeing with each other. Like, just because I slipped up and was a bit of a dork with the way that I spoke in some fashion or another. Therefore, I deserve to get ass raped by the entire Dawn fan base. That's gonna be so clipped out of context. But yeah, I mean, it depends on what Hard Bastard's audience is. I mean, if Hard Bastard's audience is mostly right-wing, but they're principally right-wing and libertarian, well then yeah, they'll sit right with me. But if they're like partisanly for the right-wing just for the sake of being right-wing, in the same way a lot of Don's fan base would be, well then I'm not so sure about that, Condor. I'm just giving my honest opinion on that. But we'd have to see some other time. Countless Bathory says, that anyone know where Jimmy stands on vaccines? Is he for the mandates? I feel like you can tell who the tyrants are by their stance on vaccine mandates. I would not put it past Jimmy for him to be for the vaccine mandates. Heck, I think that even fucking Destiny is for the vaccine mandates, or at least I heard of that. I did not actually hear the statement from Destiny that he's for the vaccine mandates, but if he is for that, well then that's a big time disappointment, because I had been like getting devoted more and more into Destiny's content, especially whenever PSA Sitch and Adam Friended go reviewing his debates against Vosh. Those are fucking entertaining as shit. But nonetheless, yeah. So Stretch the Mail says that's fair. All right. T. Douglas McIntosh says, we have the dark conservatarians, so when will we get the bright Prague rib roll? You know what, T. Douglas? I'm going to have to come up with that character sometime. I'm just going to have to be like... I'm going to have to do a soft gentleman, kind of like in the same way that Hard Bastard used to do. And just LARP as a leftist on one of these YouTube, on one of these live streams sometime. Well, why not? It should be fun. Zachary Colley says, heard of the scandal involving Fresh and Fit? Myron No Gains is in trouble. Hee hee. Yeah, I never heard of that, Zach. Anyway, that's the last of the live chat I've caught up, so let's power through the rest of this video, folks, and then I'll visit you in the live chat here in a little bit.
He's clearly not honest with anything. It just seems to be the truth.
You're not honest with anything, asshole. Again, pot calling the kettle black. Full on projection here, folks. I hope you are fully realizing why I named this this live stream the way that I did. Like, either Sahil is just plain flat out dishonest, or he's fucking stupid. He's fucking ignorant. Because there are only two conclusions that you can come to here. Either A, Progressive Voice has not seen any bit of Jimmy Dore's content within recent months or years even, and he's just talking completely out of his ass, basing his opinions totally just off of the titles of the videos, or he's flat out lying about Jimmy Dore. But even then, like, if you go like watching this video throughout, you can like notice that there are some videos which that he has watched portions of. Okay, so we're at the 12-minute mark right there. That's our place. So the video where he goes responding to him, not my fault, says Biden and Kamala on Afghanistan. So this is Jimmy Dore criticizing Biden and Kamala for shifting blame on Afghanistan. He's at least watched through a part of this video, as you can see by the progress bar. 8 minutes 52 seconds out of 14:53. Trying to see if there's another video that he goes showing here that he has watched a part of. Ron Paul predicted Afghan debacle 10 years ago. Well, it doesn't show that he has watched any of this video, but even if he did, that'd probably be something that's a little bit more anti-left, or that'd probably be a little bit more anti-democrat than pro-left. So those aren't exactly, if he has watched those videos, that would not be a sign of him knowing the leftism of Jimmy Dore. But I don't know. It's still up in the air on whether or not that he has actually watched any of Jimmy Dore's videos where he goes criticizing Joe Biden for being more of a fracker, of a driller than Donald Trump even, or criticizes Joe Biden for, I don't know, not being left enough or whatever. But if he did watch those videos, then he's a flat out liar, Sahil here is. But either way, stupid or a liar, this is why you should not really take Sahil that seriously. And the fact that he's calling Jimmy dishonest is just full on projection right here. And he hasn't even really substantiated that well how he's dishonest. Like, is he just pretending to be as far left as he is? Jimmy Dore, I mean? What's the evidence for that, Sahil? You go saying that he's like Tim Pool, that's a flat out fucking lie. Again, Tim Pool goes attacking Democrats from the right. Jimmy Dore goes attacking Democrats from the left. So, not equivalent.
Anything. It just seems to be the truth. You know, like I said, he's...
It just seems to be the truth. That's so fucking painful to hear right there. I lost brain cells hearing that.
Extremely narcissistic, so that plays into this heavily. But, you know, I think he's just trying to...
he's extremely narcissistic. That's what plays into this. Or he actually believes in what he espouses so much to where that he feels so betrayed by Democrats and therefore is critical of them. That's another alternative, Sahil.
Than his fans as well. But Jimmy Dore is a clown. Do not trust his political... I don't know why you would trust his political coverage.
I don't know why anybody would trust your political coverage, honestly, Sahil. Like, you're just a substantive. Like, I remember like a few years back where he goes briefly mentioning Charlie Kirk and saying how Charlie Kirk is some MAGA dude and he's unsubstantive. That was a bit of projection right there. Like, yeah, most of the time, Progressive Voice just goes shit talking other people and covering drama within the internet progressive left. That's what he does mostly. And whenever he does go try to engaging on the policy, Progressive Voice, I mean, it's some of the most overly simplistic and most, I don't know, most easy to respond to shit that you've ever heard of. So that, both of those things go showing of how unsubstantive that Progressive Voice is, really. He's unsubstantive that he covers drama and goes shit talking people. Whenever he does dive into substantive, he's not even that articulate with the substance.
Knowing that he prioritizes by far politicians' personality and ego over actual policy decisions and honesty.
Again, utter horse shit. Just listen to any of Jimmy Dore's videos all the way through. Well, maybe not any, but go listen to a handful of them, like just of random different topics, not just on one topic alone, and you will find of how much more left wing he is than you are assuming him to be, you jackass.
So he's not being honest in his coverage of the situation. If Trump were to have done this, and I'm sure he did give glowing coverage to Trump, and I'm sure the media was against that at the time too. But if Trump were to have done this, do you think that Jimmy Dore would have said this as well? Of course not. And he's even siding with CNN and the mainstream media here. So why even watch him if you're just going to get some, drama stirring channel that just says bullshit based on whoever the politician is and to stroke his own ego and, suck his own cock? What is the point? Why would you listen to that? Seriously. So this is just kind of important to understand. The guy is just not an honest person.
So that's the end of that painful bullshit. So, yeah. By the end of it, he calls Jimmy a clown. Utter projection right there. He's clownish himself because he doesn't do the least bit of research about the guy in order to talk about the guy. And if he has, well, then he is just really hiding his hand. I don't know. He's not revealing a vital piece of information to give a fully articulate opinion. And again, I don't even like Jimmy Dore, honestly. But the reason why I found this video so fucking triggering is because of the blatant dishonesty and lies, and that's what really pissed me off the most about this. And plus, he's playing a game of political hot potato. Let me explain to you guys what I mean by when I say political hot potato. You know how people on the issue of Hitler, whether or not he's on the left or on the right, the left and right will toss him back and forth, be like, he's a leftist. Or right-wingers will be all like, Hitler's a leftist. Leftists will be like, no, Hitler's on the right. Hitler's a leftist. No, he's on the right. Basically playing this hot potato. He's on your side. No, he's on your side. No, he's on your side. That's what is... That's what what Progressive Voice is doing with Jimmy Dore here. He's playing hot potato. I don't like this guy because I think he's attacking Democrats so much. So here, let me try my absolute weakest and failed attempt, or let me try my best but utterly failed attempt to try and pass this guy off to the right. I don't want him, Sahil. I don't want him. I don't want Jimmy Dore on my side, and really, the objective fact of the matter is that he is not on my side. And I don't use the adjective of objective that often. But this is where I'm going to make an exception. He's objectively, well, I don't know. Then again, there are some other people's political spectrums, but I do not know what is the political spectrum that Sahil is using, but by every single traditional political spectrum, Jimmy Dore is heavily on the left. Anyway, Condor JC says, Hell yeah, I think he's referring to the idea of me making an alter ego, of my current Ransona. Countless Battery says, no, Zach, those guys, Abba and Preach lied about Myron. What? How are Abba and Preach lying? I mean, I have my disagreements with Abba and Preach, Countless Battery, but I am highly reserved to want to start calling them liars because I honestly like Abba and Preach. There's an idea, or of some leftists or centrists rather, that I go listen to on occasion so as to not get tunnel vision. Abba and Preach, I mean. How are they lying? Asks Zachary Colley. For real, why do they? Straight Sith Male asks, for real, why do they hate Jimmy? I don't know, because he's not willing to toe the Democrat line, or he's not willing to toe some certain line, anyways. My question was directed at Countless, by the way, says Zach. Yeah, I could make that out. Countless Battery says, Zachary Colley, if you look at Myron's dating profile, he stated no payment for you. You know what in his bio. They edited that out. A channel named Modern Life Dating exposed them. Huh. I also feel like that maybe I should give another link to my Discord in the live chat here so that maybe Countless Battery can come in and possibly give a link to this video. You know what? Why not? Fuck it. Fuck it! So copy that. There's a link to my Discord server. You're welcome to come in, Countless Battery, into the Discord server and provide a link for that video of where this dating YouTube channel, I guess, goes exposing Abba and Preach. I don't know. I want to look into it myself. As much as I want to like Abba and Preach, at the same time, I want to be in the right at the same time. And if I'm wrong for assuming that they are that good faith when really they're not, then obviously I'm going to have to take another look at that issue. Daniel Hempel says, for Sahil, we should press Y for lie. Yep. Zachary Colley says, people lie on their profiles all the time. Also, what part of the DM was edited? T. Douglas McIntosh says, right wing means anything I don't like. Pretty much it was Sahil's entire attitude right there. Straight Sith Male says, and this kid is soft. Progressive Voice is soft. He ended up privating a video, or at least, well, I don't know if he privated it, but he got rid of the comments and the ratings bar when he got responded to by Bearing. And he acted like such a fucking bitch because of the fact that they gone dogpiling on him. Saying that they are just cunts and scumbags that should just all die in a fire. Essentially. Go look at your boy Pat. Your boy Pat on YouTube. He has a video if you go to his YouTube channel and search his YouTube catalog. Talking about Progressive Voice. He goes showing the sound clips of where that Progressive Voice goes saying that Bearing's audience should just die in a fire. Just because they gone dogpiling him a little bit. Little history lesson here, folks. I got responded to by Bearing one time myself. Way back in circa late 2017, I ultimately got responded to by Bearing. And so, yeah, and at that time, I was not all like, oh, die in a fire, bitch. Fuck you. In fact, some of those comments I kind of found a little bit amusing. One of them said the meme-worthy, this guy wears a lesbian pea coat, referring to me. That's been a meme for the YouTube channel ever since. Countless Battery says the DM wasn't Myron was trying to smash, but he doesn't pay for box. That was a lie, so I don't really trust Abba and Preach. Straight Sith Males asks, why should we trust him, referring to Progressive Voice. Not a whole lot of reason to trust him. The guy's just dumb. He doesn't do his homework hardly at all. Not by what I've seen anyways. And explain the DM they showed, says Zachary. Countless Battery says, modern life datings video, dude, party episode 60 has all the evidence there. Okay. Can you summarize it? Zachary asks. Straight Sith Male says, so let me guess, is this something about Jimmy Dore saying something about Biden and his very poorly played exit? Precisely, Straight Sith Male. That's exactly what the issue is. And I don't know if Sahil has a hearing problem or what, but he thinks that Jimmy is not giving enough credit and is not agreeing enough with the pullout itself. The idea of Biden pulling out of Afghanistan. T. Douglas McIntosh says, this political shit is why I focus almost exclusively on theory. More power to you, T. Douglas. But I still like to face it head on. I mean, I'm a little bit like Ranting Monkey in that sort of way. Like a lot of my libertarian and anarchist following, they'll be rather uninterested in talking about the issue of politics when it comes to Republicans versus Democrats. But I'm a little bit more like Ranting Monkey, as he is like multiple times on his show, Monkey in the Morning. He has said multiple times that that is basically his sport. That is he views politics in the same way that other people view wrestling. It's entertaining for him. So I'm kind of in the same way of where that I find it entertaining to watch in that sort of entertaining kind of way, in that sort of wrestling kind of way. I don't know why I'm doing this. I was looking at stuff in my Discord. Probably should not do that. Countless Battery says, basically the initial claim of fit and fresh and paying for a box is false. Those are edited images. Nina, unrated, and Abba are also dating, and she has a history of causing drama. Zachary says, in what way was it edited? And JC Armitage says, this video just reaffirms what I already thought of Sahil. He has no principles outside of anything state licensed. Corpo Cable says is left equals good, while what they say is right equals bad, right? Countless Battery says, oh cool, thanks man, I'll join it later and drop the evidence. Overall, it's kind of funny to see all this drama in the manosphere. Is Alban Preach considered part of the manosphere? Is that like some community on YouTube that I have not got formally introduced to? Darker Color says, speaking of Baron, remember his videos on vegan gains? Those were a riot, along with the thumbnails, right? I mean, he's still got his biggest video up, I think, of, you know, responding to vegan gains and some of his bullshit. But anyway, so continuing on with the issue of Afghanistan, this is pretty much an all Afghanistan episode of Strike Force here, folks. So if you want my coverage on some of the more hot and heavy sort of shit that just happened with Afghanistan, go listening earlier to this live stream once I go off air. But for right now, we are about to wrap things up with go to hell, Biden. Stranded man slams president for Afghanistan chaos. And Special Forces vets secretly rescue hundreds left for dead by Biden in Afghanistan. So, reading this article first. Go to hell, Biden. Stranded man slams president for Afghanistan chaos. A desperate man trapped in Afghanistan told President Biden to go to hell as he comforted two sobbing siblings left behind at Kabul's airport by their parents. The cowering and crying brother and sister were reportedly left behind when their parents entered the airport at the capital without them during the pandemonium. The distressing footage from ITV news shows. The irate man, who appeared to be caring for the children, said that what has happened in Afghanistan after the Taliban recaptured the country was Biden's fault. It's some of it is Afghanistan's fault for not being not being willing enough to want to defend their own damn land and learn how sufficiently to run the equipment that we gave them. But yeah, Biden does have some culpability. More precisely, he has a culpability for the people that got left behind and the handling of our people. By our people, I'm meaning Americans who were there in Afghanistan at that time. Mr. Biden, you did this. You planned this. You made the deal with the Taliban, the irate man told ITV News. Huh. If I had to be honest, I have a feeling that the Biden administration would come back at this guy saying it was actually Donald Trump who was making the deal with the Taliban or whatever, because Trump was trying his best to sit down and get peace negotiations going with the Taliban. This is the consequences of it. This is the repercussions of it, Mr. Biden. It's all your ill calculation. You were against Trump. Now we're against you, he shouted. Go to hell, Biden, he added. Just another man holding a British passport made an impassioned plea to Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Just get us out of here. I'm a British citizen. My kids are British, and they're stuck here. They closed the door on us, and they're shooting back at us, the man told ITV News. Yep, indeed. Excuse me. Our kids are struggling, and we're all in a big mess here. The British Army is right behind these fences. They've closed the gate, and they're not letting no one in, he added. You mean they're not letting anyone in? Grammatical correction, but excuse me and my grammar Nazism, y'all. How much longer is this article? That guy almost looks like Tom Hardy, not gonna lie. He looks kind of like Tom Hardy, doesn't he, folks? What do you think? Alright, not much longer, but I'm gonna read this live chat comment here. Straight Sith Male says Cooper was removed. Fuck YouTube. Who's Cooper? I don't think I've ever heard of them. Straight Sith Male. Anyway, distressing images showed dozens of people, some displaying British passports, trying to enter the temporary British embassy as Taliban fighters dispersed the crowds with gunshots into the air. Meanwhile, in a contrasting scene, twin sisters were seen smiling before making their way to the UK. Asna and Sana Hashimi, 5, posed in their matching party dresses as they prepared to flee the Taliban-controlled country with their parents and younger brother, Sky News reported. And here's a picture of them. Oh, Copper Cab. Okay, that's what you meant by Cooper. Copper Cab was a dick, but not okay. Yeah. Hashtag free Copper Cab, y'all. Let's get this going. We need to start a hashtag. Hashtag free Copper Cab, y'all. I mean, obviously, Bering knows more of the details, and I would highly recommend watching his video to sort of know more of the details about this. Because apparently, according to Bering, he was just taken down off of YouTube just randomly. Like, he didn't even have any strikes. He was currently streaming at the time, and you're not able to stream if you have a current strike, particularly if you have 2 strikes plus the warning. I think is what his point was. And so he did not have enough strikes in order to get taken down with 1 more strike. Yet they just decided arbitrarily to take down, more arbitrarily than they usually do anyways, take down his YouTube channel. Like the rules for YouTube, YouTube's own standard that they don't fully reveal to everybody for taking people off of their platform is arbitrary already as it is. But with Copper Cab, it's even more fucking arbitrary than it was before. Anyway, just watch that video yourself to find out the deets. Dad Nurag Hashimi, a translator with the British military, told the news outlet that their RAF flight would save their lives. Asked if he thought he was at risk, he said, yes, the Taliban, were gonna kill me. It was like everybody was scared about what they're going to do, and the first time they're saying we're gonna do nothing to anybody, but nobody knows if it will be the same as 1996, he said. Jason Armitage says, wait, Copper Cab's channel got memory hold for what? You know what? It's not even exactly clear. Bering's video didn't even mention the reasoning as to why it exactly happened. I don't think even Bering knows. I don't think anybody knows why his YouTube channel got taken down. YouTube just decided to be a bunch of dicks. But anyway, that article, I thought it was going to be a little bit more impassioned, a little bit more cathartic reading, but it wasn't really. The guy was saying, go to hell, Biden, this is your fault, which, and he's not being that specific on what all is Biden's fault. Like, the sloppy pullout of Biden, the sloppiness of the pullout itself, that is obviously Biden's fault, yes. But the fact that Taliban has taken over Afghanistan, that is not purely Biden's fault. Like, Taliban, even if we, like, fully trained the Afghani military, the Afghani government in the use of our own military equipment that we were given to them, even if we did that, it's a possibility that they would have still eventually lost to the Taliban. And Afghanistan would have been taken back over. Except it would be a little bit less on us because it would have been, a longer time for them to take over, and so it would have been further away chronologically, anyways, from us, from the time of our leaving. Zachary Colley says, speaking of that, one of the articles from the Jab episode no longer exists. Something is fishy here. Huh. Interesting. Maybe this article right here will be a little bit more cathartic to read after covering the recent depressing news about Afghanistan and also responding to Sahil's brain-rotting commentary about Jimmy Dore and Afghanistan. So this is from neonnettle.com. Special Forces vets secretly rescue hundreds left for dead by Biden in Afghanistan. This is 27th August 2021, which this article has been released. So this is a little bit before everybody has been taken out. So this is very past information. Keep that in mind, folks. But nonetheless, I thought it'd be an interesting read to hear out. U.S. veterans defy Biden to run secret operation to rescue Americans and Afghan allies. A group of highly trained United States Special Forces veterans has run a successful operation to secretly rescue hundreds of Americans and Afghan allies from Afghanistan after they were left for dead by Democrat Joe Biden, according to reports. Defying Biden's orders, the vets conducted the special op without U.S. military authorization after they realized that large numbers of Afghanistan Special Forces and their families were trapped inside the terrorist-controlled country. The operation was codenamed Pineapple Express and involved a group of special ops soldiers, including retired Green Berets and SEAL team commanders. The vets said they were inspired to take matters into their own hands. After one of the Afghan commandos they served with contacted them to say he was on the run from the Taliban, according to the Daily Mail. His visa had not been approved when the Taliban took over on August 14, and thousands ran for the airport, the Mail said Friday. The special ops soldiers first devised a system with U.S. troops at the airport where they sent their comrades to a gate and told them to identify themselves with the password pineapple to be put on a plane by the Marines on the ground. Some also showed the troops pictures of pineapples on their phones, the outlet continued. After getting their former colleagues out of Afghanistan, they began venturing outside the U.S. military perimeter around Hamid Karzai International Airport, defying Biden administration restrictions to rescue colleagues trapped in Kabul city. That's bullshit. Essentially, Biden is pulling a Hillary Clinton. Like, does anybody remember Benghazi still? I remember Benghazi. Like, there was some troops that were ready in the moments to retaliate against the onslaught of, I can't remember what the exact sect of Muslims were, but the Muslims that were attacking the Benghazi, Libya embassy. And yet, Hillary Clinton told them to stand down. If they were deployed, they could have at least saved 2 of the 4 people that died in that attack. But no, ultimately 4 people died. So this is worse right here. I mean, thank God for the bravery of these soldiers to defy the orders of the Biden administration in order to save people's lives, but still cannot be helped observe that Biden essentially pulled a Hillary Clinton on this. This is like Hillary Clinton's Benghazi times 100. This Afghanistan pullout is. Well, maybe not times 100, but times 10 at least. Times 5, let's put it that way. If more people die, well, then it will become increasingly worse than Benghazi. I mean, like I said earlier, we have the hundreds that were left behind as the U.S. troops finally leave Afghanistan, so it's only a matter of time before those U.S. citizens are just completely clocked out of life by the Taliban. And all this shit is just freaking depressing. All these veterans feel like a bunch of bumps on a log, and it's depressing them. It's both enraging and depressing them at the same time, to where that some of them are feeling suicidal. This is an article that I forgot to present a little bit earlier on this live stream, but here it is. Washington Examiner said Veterans Affairs Suicide Hotline received more than 35,000 calls during Afghanistan evacuation. They were receiving like 2,300 calls per day within the time frame here. It's a high number. It's in the thousands at least per day when the amount of calls that they were receiving over this. And it really is the type of shit that would drive a veteran that gave their blood, sweat, and tears, and even in some cases their lives, into Afghanistan, for all that to just be thrown away. So yeah. And at the same time, Joe Biden is letting down not only the American people as a whole, but especially and more importantly, the American people who are still stuck in Afghanistan, and the people who were even like at risk during the time of the evacuation. Not to mention these 13 U.S. Marines and all that. And also, not that Afghani citizens are like the president's job or anything like that, or not the president's responsibility or anything like that. It's still worthy of mentioning, though, that Biden is kind of letting down Afghani allies, or at least semi-allies anyways, to where it's all just driving these veterans crazy. So, continuing on. Moving after nightfall in near pitch black darkness and extremely dangerous conditions, the group said it worked unofficially in tandem with the United States military and U.S. Embassy to move people, sometimes one person at a time or in pairs, but rarely more than a small bunch, inside the wire of the U.S. military-controlled side of Hamid Karzai International Airport, ABC News added. So, let me pause for a second here. Getting caught up in the live chat. Straight Sith male. All these are just straight Sith male. He says, talk to any veteran. The Afghan army was high on heroin. What the fuck? No commentary. I don't even need to give commentary to that. It just goes to show the carelessness of the Afghani army. If they were just consistently on drugs. So this goes to show that, yeah, Biden has some culpability, but ultimately the Afghani army, they did not care. This is proof that they just didn't care. So we probably shouldn't have given the equipment in the first place. And even when we did give them the equipment, we probably should have taken it back, or at least as much of it as we possibly could from the Afghani army. Oh, you don't want this? Okay, give it back. We're taking it with us. We don't want it ending up in the hands of these Taliban thugs here. He also says the White House is big bad because we keep comparing this to the exit from Saigon. Voice of Texas being a butthead. This is literally Saigon times 100. Wow, fucking disgusting. It is straight Sith male. It is. As of Thursday morning, the group said it had brought as many as 500 Afghan special operators, assets, and enablers and their families into the airport in Kabul overnight, handing them each over to the protective custody of the U.S. military, the outlet noted. The operation came to light following a deadly terrorist attack in Kabul on Thursday that left nearly 200 dead, including 10 U.S. Marines, 2 U.S. Army soldiers, and 1 U.S. Navy hospital corpsman. The blast did affect some of the Pineapple Express travelers, the veterans associated with the mission said, according to the Daily Wire. Okay, so I'm just going to say full out right here, folks, that there is a little bit of a bias from this source here, especially since they cite the Daily Wire here. But nonetheless, I would challenge any leftist to go ahead and try to debunk this that is being reported right here, even if it's like from a right-wing outlet. I mean, what's the... Here's the claim, here's the evidence, where's the counter evidence to that this didn't happen? That, oh, there wasn't really any soldiers that bravely gone in to try to save Afghanis in spite of being held back by Biden. Or, oh, that they did go in, but they weren't being held back by the Biden administration. So, continuing on, they do not yet know whether some of their colleagues are among the dead. Around 130 individuals have been smuggled into the protective custody of the U.S. military inside the perimeter of HKIA by a separate task force, Pineapple, an informal group whose mission began as a frantic effort on August 15 to get one former Afghan commando who had served with group founder Colonel Scott Mann, a former Green Beret. Neil Stone in the live chat says, greetings and salutations. Hello, Neil Stone. How you doing? Been a little bit, dude. Continuing on, dozens of high-risk individuals, families and small children, orphans and pregnant women were secretly moved through the streets of Kabul throughout the night and up to just seconds before ISIS detonated a bomb into the huddled mass of Afghans seeking safety and freedom, Mann said. Many of those who assisted Task Force Pineapple chose to defy orders, Mann said, exiting the secure perimeter, even as the Biden administration demanded they stay within airport walls, reportedly due to Joe Biden's fears from the political blowback of another Black Hawk Down moment. This Herculean effort couldn't have been done without the unofficial heroes inside the airfield who deified their orders. Or who defied. Why'd I read deify? I meant defied. Sorry. Excuse my fucking autism or whatever, folks. Dyslexia. That's the word I'm looking for. Excuse my dyslexia. Who defied their orders to not help beyond the airport perimeter by wading into sewage canals and pulling in these targeted people who were flashing pineapples on their phones, Mann said. With the uniformed U.S. military unable to venture outside the airport's perimeter to collect Americans and Afghans who sought U.S. protection for their past joint service, they instead provided overwatch and awaited coordinated movements by an informal Pineapple Express ground team that included conductors led by former Green Beret Captain Zach Lois, known as the Underground Railroad's engineer, ABC News reported. Lois told ABC that he was proud of and astounded by the effort. That is an astounding number for an organization that was only assembled days before the start of operations, and most of its members had never met each other in person, he said. End of article, folks. Excuse me, folks. Getting a little bit tired, as it would be kind of expected as I am as I come to the end of these live streams. Damn, my phone is really dying really fast. It went from 65% to 46% within the 2 hours of me being live here. Wonder why that is. AVAS mobile security is using battery. You know, I probably ought to shut that off just because of that reason alone. This is losing battery too fast. But anyway, get caught up with the live chat and then I'll end off this live stream. Yeah, sorry, I've been taking a break from social media. Sometimes it can just get toxic, says Neil Stone. Yeah, I don't blame you, Neil. I don't blame you at all. Straight Sith Mail says, and this is all planned. Yeah, I mean, I would not put it... I'm not going to assert definitively that there is some big conspiracy with Biden here. I'm just going to assume on the surface that at least it is some egregious incompetence. And at this point, I would say that he is heavily leaning into the area of being warranted for impeachment, as far as I'm concerned. What even is dyslexia? LOL, asks straight Sith male. Dyslexia is some complication with reading, making consistent mistakes with your reading or typing and whatnot. It's just, I mean, I don't know if I actually have dyslexia. I'm just using it as a turn of phrase. But anyway, that's pretty much all of the show here, folks. For all of you who are just now tuning in or have tuned in just in the middle of this live stream when I was talking about, when I was responding to Sahil, who was responding to Jimmy Dore, or not even really responding to Jimmy Dore. He was just shit-talking about Jimmy Dore. Baselessly shit-talking and being dishonest with his shit-talking of Jimmy Dore. So, yeah, it was pretty unsubstantive and pretty dishonest hackery, but nonetheless, if go ahead and watch this live stream from the way beginning. I go pretty much summarizing, or at least to the best of my knowledge and ability that I have read of all the articles that I had collected, go summarizing the recent stuff that had happened, that there are people left behind and so forth. Links will be down in the description box after I hit the go off air button. But for all of y'all who have watched and have contributed to the live chat, thank you very much. Much appreciated. This Friday, I will be interviewing T. Douglas McIntosh about the issue of capitalism. We're going to be asking about his opinions on capitalism and also be doing some bit of reviewing of the capitalism special that we had with Nate the Voluntarist, or at least I had with Nate the Voluntarist and some other people. T. Douglas McIntosh, he did not get a chance to go on the capitalism special. And so because he kind of feels, I guess, ripped off, I thought why not? Just throw him a bone in that area. Might as well. Throw him a bone. That sounds kind of snobby. I did not mean it to come off that way, T. Douglas, if you're watching this. But yeah, good night, Straight Sith Mail, and thanks for the compliment of saying that it's been a great show. It has been a pretty decent show. But anyway, yeah, this Friday, interviewing T. Douglas McIntosh. Next Tuesday, I'll be talking about coronavirus, if nothing else pops up that I feel is more important. More specifically, I'll be talking about vaccines. But anyway, y'all have a good night. And see y'all later. Stay safe.